Nauseous, dizzy, feel like you might put an end to it. Dramamine N, new from Dramamine, uniquely made to treat nausea, dizziness, and vomiting. New Dramamine N, put an end to it.
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
Just
okay. So,
scanning your card.
We've got a different race today. Although the music's really annoying, I might just turn that music off.
it's very suspenseful, man.
Yeah. I think we're going to do it just a little bit different today. See if we could streamline it a little bit.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to volunteer to read the cards first? And then the other two people will take turns doing the review. I could do it if y'all would rather do the review part.
I can read the card if you want, guys. Need me to?
Okay. So, let me think. Zeph, do you gotta go to work today at a certain time?
Yeah, but I mean, it's not till 5, which is 4 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah.
So we should be done by then.
Yeah.
Especially if we're gonna streamline it.
Yeah, I really want to try to keep it about an hour and a half or 2 hours if possible. 3.5 was pretty crazy.
It was interesting though, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. The thing that if I were to read it, I kind of shortcut a lot. So.
Yeah.
After we looked over the tech card yesterday, I'm like, you know what? I had to build a deck now from tech.
Started brewing.
So many...
yeah. Hell yeah.
Did you start with Grandma or the infinite time guy?
I actually started with Tempest.
Oh, nice.
With Time Shifter.
Tempest is too good.
Yeah, it is. It's insane.
Scanning these in takes a while from pictures.
Really?
It's just not recognizing it or something. It's like the circly bit forever.
Oh, yeah. The lighting might be kind of weird where I'm sitting at because it's right by a window.
I mean, it looks good from the Facebook from what I could see, but I don't know why it's taking a while for some of them, and some of them are recognized instantly. So you just have a pile of you separate it to unscan and scan cards.
Yeah, I have a pile of cards that you and Irby have scanned now. I was gonna say too, when you get the digital versions of those, if you could unscan them or let Irby use them or something like that.
Also, are you sharing your cards so you can get into the digital game faster or what?
Yeah, I got Alex.
Well, okay, so the actual game is doesn't give you that much stuff for winning. It's 5 gold.
Yeah, it takes a while to grind.
Maybe it gets better when there's I don't know. I don't even know how you're supposed to increase your collection speed, because it's just dailies, weekly, and the 5 gold per win, which is insane.
Yeah. So it kind of snowballs, because when you start getting all the avatars and cards, then you start getting duplicates.
Yep.
And it gives you crystals.
Yeah, but the boxes are you only get them from leveling up, right?
Yeah.
There are other ways to get the chests.
Well, you can buy them, but that's not optimal.
No, you can scan people's tribute cards.
Oh yeah, that too.
There's a Facebook group, I think, where people post their tribute cards, and then there's a huge thread on the forums.
Huh.
I'm not sure how fast that is. Have you tried scanning tribute cards, Zeph?
No, I don't really have a need to scan tribute cards.
Yeah.
Because the collection's already big enough, so I already have all the cards I need.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's probably some adjustment for them to do, or some alternate ways to get the free to play stuff, because if I didn't have the cards, it does feel a little bit slow to me.
Oh yeah.
No, it's like impossible actually. Like if you didn't
It'll take forever.
if you didn't give me the cards, I would have just like not actually kept. I would have just because
Well,
there
I
can
think-
only be so many bad cards I could play with and still have fun. And the number is not very high.
So
Well, Mandy
will we
played
see,
starter decks for like 3 weeks because Boba went and scanned her cards. So
will we see like Alex play at tournaments or what? Or we don't
Well,
know
okay, the stupid tournaments are all in big conventions instead of local.
yet? Well, they kind of like, I think I've been hearing quite a bit of things. They're gonna kind of stay away from conventions.
Donkey Kong or King Kong. I don't know which one that is. All right, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of adjustment here. It looks like our window's off.
Yeah, I don't really like traveling that much, and for Magic, I usually drive at most like 5 hours. That's like my max that I want to drive.
The TPK team was talking about the series in the app, though, where we might do like 6-on-6. I mean,
That sounds fun.
if we get, oh, that was not the right number. If we get Alex some cards, we can have him join the tournaments on the app, which I think the app is going to make it a lot more accessible because there's just not enough, people out there right now to have a scene everywhere you want to have one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this will probably take place after Kindred drops on the app, right?
I'm not really sure. They announced on their stream the other day they were going to start doing those. They didn't really say when. So. But it sounds fun. They're like everybody, 6-person team. Everybody pick one order, and then I don't know how they'll do the pairings after that, but sounds interesting.
Probably just do last man standing.
That'd
Just
be-
like send 1v1 and then loser, winner stays, loser change up. So you could be like, all right, snipe that guy, and then you have your anti whatever attack.
So it's like a wrestling battle royale.
I think that's
Yeah.
the most fun, to be honest. But
Okay. Well, let's see here. We can go ahead and jump in.
this bombling would not scan. Stupid bombling.
You don't need bomb lanes. That's a buff. I'm curious to see how your bomb lane version does versus the no buff version of Zuna has been doing really well on the app. But Trauma is volunteering for the team match. What's your name on the app, Trauma? Okay, Zeph, you want to go ahead and jump in, and I guess the way we can do it is if you read the card, and then you can pass it off to one of us for initial impressions, and then just add to it as you want. And if you get tired of reading, we can switch up at some point.
All right, that's fine. So the first card we have is Arcane Investigator. It's a Chimchu card. Gain additional action as this enters play. Defendability. Look at the top card of your deck. You may move it to the bottom. Gain additional action. So, what do you think about it, Alex?
So it's one action because you get the action back whenever you play it, and gravity. So, what is that chain actually? Like gravity into solar? It's been a while, so I don't remember because like the gravity thing actually matters when you're playing Astral.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to set up what anti-gravity stuff, right? because most of the stuff that looks at the top card don't really like. Gravity.
There's some cards that favor gravity being on top of the deck when you top deck it.
I'm just thinking of just like then the gravity snail. If it's
Yeah,
not gravity, increase by 2. If then there's that other one, the combo.
Yeah, anti-gravity
yeah,
field.
yeah.
So you're mostly setting those up and like shifter.
Mhm.
Overall, I don't know if it's worth a card, but it seems pretty. It seems pretty free to do because it's basically costing you an action to mostly draw it because you get the action back when you play it, and then you get the action back when you use the ability.
Yeah.
So I still don't think it's worth the card. So I'm not really too impressed unless there's some kind of like synergy down the line that makes it worth the card deck. It's just the slot in the deck that's mostly the problematic because it actually does nothing. It just makes other things better.
Yeah.
There's probably
makes the
better
deck more
versions of
consistent.
this as well. If you're wanting to
Yeah,
control the top of your deck, I think there's better ways to do it. I think
So yeah. Go ahead.
from looking at this too, I think that gravity usually wants solar, but gravity is probably the least dependent on. Well, Pathfinder wants lunar, so gravity is kind of either way sometimes, as what it
Yeah.
wants on top. So
Right, and most of the time you actually want like the top card of your discard pile, not your deck. That matters.
hmm
So since that doesn't really affect the top card of the discard pile, it's a lot more niche than what the solar stuff usually or astral stuff usually cares about.
yeah, it'd be a lot better backwards. Look at the bottom card, put it on top. Then you
That'd
could,
be pretty cool.
because this way you put the card on bottom and then the next one's random, so you don't actually like if
So
it's not
actually,
what you
the
want.
card that I think could be interesting, I don't know if it's interesting or not, is if you manipulate your discard pile instead of your deck.
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't think that's worth a card.
Yeah. So this one's a womp womp.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like it's like a slightly worse Dynamo. Because it's a fan ability and you also gain additional action from doing it. So
Right. There is that aspect.
That's a good point.
Using it to trigger other thing
hmm
for free, but it's also only to use cards. And even though it does only cost you 1 action point to set this whole thing up instead of the usual 2, it's still kind of a card that does nothing on its own.
yeah. No, I agree. If it had like, I feel like if it had like three corners or probably a fourth one, I think it would be better. Better.
Yeah, the two uses kind of makes it like if you're trying to
Mhm.
abuse it for the free effect. Yep. It's just not enough. All right, we'll move on. Bulk bin for that one.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
All right. So the next.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I got it. The next card is gonna be Battle Priestess. So the first three corners are XXX, and on the fourth corner is any healing you receive is also dealt as damage to your target.
Yeah, I like it. It's
Mhm.
it's basically a synergy deck. Like you're trying to set up this whole big combo turn. So I like it because it's unique. I'm not necessarily sure how effective it is because generally healing cards give you more than damage cards. You usually get like 8, 9 healing. 7 is kind of like the standard for healing, whereas for damage it's like 6 is standard, and sometimes you get like, 7 is really good and 8 is like you have to work for it.
Yeah, probably
So
like the best scenario here would be have gravity on top, play the what's the card 4 healing, get an action. Then you have lunar on top, you'll want to get solar on top somehow, so you could play like what's the discard 2 attacks? Blinding Beetle. So you're up to 7, and then you could follow up with Dusk Feeder, and that's 14, and you've also healed 14. So that's a pretty brutal turn, but you do have to wait 4 turns and then set up just like that.
Right,
Yeah.
it does require setup. The thing is, there are a decent amount of healing that gives you extra action in Astral. I think there's like the new one, the one that's like, or I guess I don't know how new it is, but it's like 2 healing, and you get an extra action
Yeah.
without like any requirement. So if you could just like set up a turn where you chain a bunch of healing, in addition to whatever buff you set off to go off at the same turn. But again, it is like a 4-corner buff, so they can play around it. They can see it coming.
Yeah. That's the only bad thing about it.
Right.
And you're going to be wanting to wait on your heals until this hits its fourth corner. So if they can pressure you enough, you might have to throw your heals away.
So what I was thinking about with this card is that there's many cards that do damage and healing. For example, if Sun Beacon wasn't banned, that would be a huge chunk. Another card I can think at the top of my head would be Star Blast. So that says 7 damage, 7 healing. If you can get the line up properly, that's 14 damage and 7 healing. It's also a card called Eclipse or Lunar Offering. You know, you can get those set up at the same corner. You can get like 11 healing, 11 damage. It's really hard to set up that.
Yeah, the Lunar Offering thing is definitely interesting, but you'd have to have it sit there for 4 turns without being removed.
It's very hard to set up.
Actually.
Okay, so if you have, what is it, the Observatory?
Yeah.
It says increase healing and damage. So do you get double dipping on that?
Yeah, so your healing will be increased. Your healing will be increased, and that'll be converted into damage.
And then the damage gets increased.
Yeah.
So you do get double dip on that.
I'm not so sure about
ideally,
that.
well, if it gets double dip, then ideally you want cards that heal you and deal damage.
I've got an interesting one up on screen that will be part of the review, but it does damage and healing. And so if you have a combo on top, you can trigger on the Moonbeak Corvid, you can trigger both sides. Shapeshifter might be interesting if you can look at the top of your deck. I don't think that, so looking at Skyward Observatory, I don't think you get, like, Skyward doesn't get increased.
Increase damage and healing done.
Yeah, it does. It says increased damage and healing by rotation value.
Yeah, no, I would say it does get double dip, because here's what I assume would happen. It's like you say you heal for 5 or whatever, so the healing will get to 7, and then the priestess sees 7 healing, so priestess is gonna deal 7 damage, but then it's also damage, so the Skyward Observatory affects priestess +2, so it'd be 9 damage.
Oh, you're right, with how it would trigger. Yep.
Yeah.
That
Which
could,
is pretty cool.
I think this makes Skyward Observatory pretty interesting. Or even better, because I do kind of like Skyward Observatory. So yeah, there you go.
If this was 3 and the 4th corner, I would totally play this card. If it was 2 corners, totally play it.
I think this is worth it as a one of, like, kind of similar thought process to Lunar Offering. Like, you can throw it down by itself, and if they don't deal with it, it can get out of hand pretty fast. Like, at a minimum, you're probably going to get like 7 value out of it from Astral, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, you could set up like a turn where you go like, all right, set this up, tick, and then set up Observatory Subjugator. So unless they have a removal that's, not an attack, then you get to do your own thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so you can protect it a little bit.
But personally, for me, if you have to go through all the effort just for one card for one corner, I don't think it's worth it. Like just do Subjugator and Sky Observatory, just for a card that has one corner.
Right.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you're
No,
going through effort. Like it's a buff that you can throw down by itself. If they don't deal with
Mhm.
it, you do things you're going to be doing anyways. Like I think a lot of the Astral decks are playing those heal spells anyways, and you know, I think it could be pretty common to get 11 out of this. And if you
Yeah.
ever get 14 damage out of it, it's just ridiculous.
That's
The other
good.
scenario, and those are all cards you're going to play anyway. So.
Okay.
All right, I'll throw the
Good.
next one up here. Got a few reprints. Let's see. Gotta reset my screen. Hold on 1 second. I feel like there's a little lag from when I put the card up to when you see it, Zeph. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It might make more sense for me to read them since there's not lag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind
I
of have to wait.
to keep
Yesterday
it.
was also the same thing.
Yeah. So we'll just we'll switch it up.
Okay.
All right. So Beast Tamer, lunar card. Restart all your beast buffs. Heal equal to the number of beast buffs you have in play. So I think we obviously have to look at what the beast buffs are. What? Oh, I have lunar. Okay.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that's not the 2-1 order. There's a bunch of different.
Is it? Oh, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Gorge Stalker is a lot of value to reset.
Dawnstalker, Sunhugger, Time Worm.
It's a pretty good list of cards here.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, Sunhugger.
Oh man, that's good.
yeah. So I think this can do like a lot of damage.
Uh-oh. The Time Worm.
Yeah.
Oh my man.
Even Thunderslug, like that could... So this card's very splashable, but...
Yeah.
So Lunar is relatively splashable, I think, in general from Astral. Zeph, you get the... What's the card you like to play that gets the off color if it's not the same order?
It's the Lunar Shrieker,
Yeah.
which is a really fantastic card.
Yeah.
Let's take a moment to talk about resetting Time Worm. I'm just joking.
Actually, this resets Swamp Creeper. I don't know if that still like good in this meta game.
I don't know if you ever need more than 10 cards, or
Okay.
if you ever do that many Swamp Creepers, you've either run out of time or it's not relevant anymore.
That's fair.
I think the huge one is Thunderslug though. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and you even
thing
get
about-
the buff removal from the first corner, right?
Yep. And the thing about this is that Blacktail has both of these elements. So Blacktail has Thunderslug and Beast Tamer.
Yeah. So the healing part is kind of whatever. We're just mostly looking for restarting buffs. And I think you do kind of want to have, like at least 2, because otherwise I think there are other cards that does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely some good value here. Bubblefish is a beast. That just doesn't make much sense to me. That's the least beast-looking card I've ever seen. Yeah, so this card's interesting.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I do. So there's one card we didn't talk about yet that is from the new set, Sunplane Charger. I think it's pretty interesting with Beast Tamer because if you can't manage to have gravity on top, they think they're going to get rid of this, or if they mess up your chain, you can restart this
Play that.
to start the
Mhm.
chain again. Because I think anything that has repeatable damage is going to be a big deal, and if you can keep this going, I think this could be a pretty sweet card for Astral.
Because they will be forced to remove it, and they will have to waste their buff removal.
Yep. All right, let's see what we got next. All right, I messed that up. I didn't pass it off to someone. We just started talking, so I'll try to do it right this time. Celestian Beast Guard, unique. Reduce the first damage you receive per turn by 2 if your last discarded card is a beast card. Alex, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so this is reminding me of how they are templating the fixed Pollen Weaver.
Exactly.
So I think it's if they ever, I don't know if they'll ever do like a real life errata or if they're just gonna keep it banned. But I think this kind of reduce the first damage deal is still really good, even though it's not as broken, obviously. And then it's like it looks at beast card, so we saw a lot of beast cards in a lot of different colors. I'm not sure if it's enough for just a straight Astral.
Yeah. I was looking through all the beast cards that are in Blacktail's colors, because one thing Blacktail is missing is any kind of good defensive option.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like you're probably still going to struggle, I think, to get Blacktail to be defensive even with this card. Just looking through here, you've got Crackling Beast, which I think is marginal, that you really don't want to play that in Blacktail. It's not a very good attack compared to the others. Moonlight Burrow can be a decent card, and then I usually play a full set of Therapeutic Heal in that, and then Thunder Slugs. So you've got like roughly 6 to 9 different beast cards, which that doesn't seem very exciting for having to keep that on top. So I think for
And
Blacktail,
then it kind of
anyways,
messes up your Astral cycle, like because if you have to care about, the suborder plus the fact that it's a beast card, then you're kind of playing a different deck.
So that's pretty sweet that Tusker is a beast, Starhorn Tusker.
Oh man,
You don't mind that one staying on top?
I don't mind it at all. Such
Yeah.
an underrated card.
So there's just not a lot of beasts really that you're gonna want to be leaving on top.
So the other thing is, are they just gonna make one for every color, like a unique Pollen Weaver effect with various, specific trigger or specific scenarios where you get the defense? Because there's like Turkle or whatever, the blue one.
Turkle Captain.
Yeah, that's just nowhere close to Pollen Weaver when it's like printed in the same set. It's just like you compare the two. It's like, what is this?
Yeah. Well, it might be that, and then the only order that doesn't have it will be Pollen Weaver is banned. So Nature will have it.
Yeah, I really hope they do errata things, because I was looking at the erratas for the various cards that got banned, and it seems reasonable enough. Like, and obviously, in the digital game you can change anything you want. So
Yeah.
in a paper game, it's harder, but it's not unheard of.
Yeah. I think Beast Guard is probably the strongest effect, like in a vacuum, minus the old Pollen Weaver, just because as they print more beasts, this will get more likely that you can finish your turn with a beast on top.
Right.
But yeah, right now the options for beasts are just a little bit weak, I think.
Yeah.
All right, let me get the next one. I feel like that's the standard theme. Like the families just don't have enough gas to them right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're like 3 sets in.
Yeah.
And they're starting to try to put even more stuff into the game, diversifying it. So the pass cards obviously needs more stuff to feed the archetypes, and then they also want to make new archetypes so people keep, be interested in the game. So I think it's just the balancing act.
Yeah. Yep, it'll take a few sets to catch up on the families, but that's a card to watch out for, I think, in the future. All right, so the next one we have is Celestian Spellbreaker. All heroes draw a card face up. If that card shares an element with their last discarded card, they take 5 damage. All heroes then discard that card that was drawn.
Wow.
Zeph, this one's yours.
I'm gonna have to give it a womp womp because I don't see any good thing from coming out of this card. Yeah, you draw a card, but I mean it's pretty much if you build your deck right, this is something that Shapeshifter could do. Without having to discard any of your cards, in my opinion. So I don't see this card being played anytime soon. Maybe sometime in the future when you get benefit from damaging yourself. But
Well, hold on. So I actually really like this card because this looks like a prison strategy, and like the way I'm reading it, so you're basically punishing any player that has same elements that draw the same element.
Yes.
Right. So it's better when you're like cross order because that reduces your chance of drawing the same element. And then it's also affecting every single draw. It's not just like draw from, the end step, draw from whatever. It's like every single draw.
Wait.
Oh, wait, no. I thought it was a buff. Never mind. Ooh. Yeah. It's bad.
It just does 5.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a buff. So I was just like, holy crap, that's really good if it was a buff.
Yeah, it would be playable if it was a buff.
Yeah, it would.
Okay, yeah.
The thing not to discount, though, is that it is a card that mills. When you get to critical mass of things that mill, maybe there's a deck there. So this is maybe one more piece of that.
Yeah, it's just like 5 damage mill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was excited when I thought it was the buff, but then I was like, oh.
When you thought it was good.
Yeah.
All right, we got some womp wops. Come on, Astral. We need some good ones.
Yeah.
All right, Chimchu Commander. Turn damage to your target. Gain 1 additional action when you play a Chimchu card. All right, Alex, I'll let you go. I'll go ahead and start pulling up the Chimchus.
The Chimchu card. By itself, it's like really mediocre damage. So if you get 1 action out of it, then it's like just below like Chronomon, right? If you think of an action equals a card.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to get like 2 actions out of it to be worth the buff, I think.
So Blacksmith is a Chimchu, is pretty relevant here.
Okay. So it depends on how many action chains. So I think 2 action is minimum. If it's 1 action, it's fine, but it's not why you play the card.
Yeah.
If you get 2 or more, then that's when it gets like exciting.
Mm-hmm. I just kind of like that it turns your Blacksmiths into a useful card, pretty much.
That's fair.
And it can, like, you can run 3 Blacksmiths pretty safely that way. I like things that make use of your Blacksmith, so then you get more consistency with being able to run 3. And then it gives you kind of like a big boom turn. Same reason people run the card in Dread that gives you 2 actions.
Assassin Guild.
Yeah. And Infiltrator is pretty sweet Chimchu. But I'm not seeing a lot of other Chimchus I would be running is kind of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
The Telesan Priest seems relatively interesting, especially with Skyward increase both of those, so 4 healing and 3 damage, draw a card, and you get an extra action. So like if you're going to be chaining actions, you probably want a Skyward out, most likely.
Yeah.
So Priest is probably part of that equation, but it doesn't seem as strong as like the chaining defend decks that you guys have put together. Like you're not getting as much value chaining Chimchus.
I feel like that. For me, it's on the third corner, and it's like you have to wait to that corner to be able to set it up. Um, other like Robot Factory, you can like have it on the second corner, and you can just start from there. You don't have to wait that long, and you can get multiple instances out of it. That's just me though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this card's pretty below par. All right, moving on. All right, Crescent Fall Cultist. Draw one card face up. If it's solar, increase all damage and healing done for the rest of the turn by 3. Otherwise, take 2 damage. It doesn't. So Zeph, I think we're back to you.
Oh, okay. So I personally like this card. So it's pretty much like, well, we're gonna relate it back to Flying Fortress again. So the fact that you're able to draw a card, and if you have a deck that consists mostly of solar, you can pretty much, get it, get and then everything increasing by 3. So you just use their ability, and you pretty much get 3 to every click on Flying Fortress for that turn.
Is that how it works? Because draw a card face up, period, and then you get the increase after?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you'll get the increase after. So, but you can still use your ability and still get the +3 for the defense card you draw. So
okay,
not bad.
So the actual drawing off this card would not be increased with your Flying Fortress, but what you do after would. Okay.
Yes. And it's and healing as well. So let's say you don't really have some beacon's gone, so that was a pretty good chunk of healing. So let's say you play this and you want to play Binding Beetle for like 7, you can.
Mm-hmm.
No, for 6.
Yeah, we need a solar defend that has some power to it, I think, to replace the Sun Beacon.
Yeah.
And too bad this one's lunar though. Yeah, it could give you the big boom turn,
Mm-hmm.
But Tusker kind of does a similar thing too. So
Yeah.
although with the action chain you guys are doing, this could get pretty out of hand.
Yeah. You can play that at the beginning, and then you can do everything with +3 increase without having to worry about the top of your discard pile.
Yeah. Yeah, knowing the top of your deck seems to be getting more important, so. Looks like Tuck 2 Astral is going to be popular. Just get that third element.
Just get that lunar.
Yeah. Alright, next card we have is Dawn Wanderer. While your last discarded card is lunar, your enemy cannot play combos. While your last discarded card is solar, reduce your combo cost by turn.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Alex, what's your thoughts on this one?
So obviously you kind of want like to play combos that are both lunar and solar. So you're kind of wanting to chain combos here, the way of thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you don't get the lunar part, I think the solar is more important.
Yeah. Yeah, and Astral, the combos are so unfair. Like getting to cheat Astral combos into play is a whole different ball game.
It does require like more work, but at the same time, you have like 3 turns. Well, I guess 2 turns that you get the reduction.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first turn is mostly to prevent them from comboing you. A lot of the games you can kind of see the finishing combo, like they're setting up like the last combo to kill you, So if you like see that coming, you can kind of buy yourself like 3 turns. So I think this is versatile enough. I'm not sure if it's worth the card, but I think there are situations where it's worth the card.
Yeah.
I would have to agree.
I think that it's pretty interesting in the mirror match because if any deck kind of shows you what they're about to do with combos, Astral is pretty bad about that. So if you can stop them from doing their combos and you get to play yours while chaining this, that's probably a blowout in your favor. But I'm still, this is still a buff that gets removed, possibly with doing not a lot of anything.
Right, and it only affects like 5 cards out of the entire deck, right? For your opponent and for you,
Yeah.
instead of like affecting like attack or something, which
Yeah.
is usually a bigger chunk.
Yeah, and it's a little time limited too. So if you play this with just solar on top, there's cards that can remove your combos from your hand. So you're giving your opponent information. They could use that to kind of get you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think this one's worth a slot. Probably.
I think it's
It's
probably
very
worth the
close.
one of.
Possibly, yeah. One thing I'll say about Astral, I don't know if you guys have felt this way, but sometimes it's hard to keep the things in hand to pay for the combos, just because you need, like, combos need specific elements and your cards need specific elements. So sometimes your play dictates, your situation dictates what you have to play, which is one thing I don't like about Astral. And then it comes around to you don't have enough to pay for the combo because you had to chain your cards a certain way. So,
Right, to get the most out of it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
So-
always been one of my thing about Astral, that I kind of really didn't like it before I started playing it, and then it was okay, it was manageable when I played it, just because of the sheer power level of the card.
Yeah.
And that was like what made Astral like really good for like starting out, is because it just had this highest sheer power if you can order it like half decently.
Yeah.
But then it also does restrict your sequence.
Yeah. Yeah, and if we don't find another good solar card to replace, the Sun Beacon that got banned, then you might not be able to run as much solar, and you might have to count on something like this to be able to cast your combos consistently. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on your build, whether or not how good this card is going to be.
Spoiler, I checked. There's no good solar cards.
Womp womp.
I know.
I don't know what's going on with my snips today. Getting these white ones.
Now that we look at Astral, well, from what we looked at as a whole, it's kind of a little bit lackluster.
Compared to
A little
Tech.
bit.
Like, Tech really
Yeah,
got...
compared to Tech.
That was a pretty exciting, review. Maybe we'll get some good ones here, though. So, Energy Hoarder, burn. Instead of discarding, move attack action cards to the bottom of your deck. What do you think, Zeph?
I feel like this would be really good with Sun Beacon.
So actually, I have a comment on this. What this does is it prevents. There's that one that's, if it's on the top card of your discard pile, add 2 damage to everything you play. So this prevents that card from getting caught.
Oh, I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah.
So you just like keep chugging with like +2 damage,
That's not bad, actually.
and you get 4, and it's guaranteed 4. It's not. It's a clunky corner, so it's not like you're gonna
Yeah.
waste corner.
So then you're getting basically 8 damage out of this card.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
That's a lot of burst, too. Like, the value's above par if you set that up, and then you have a lot of burst damage coming out of that. So, I could foresee, like, I've really been enjoying on the app things that abuse, what is it? Draw up to your opponent's hand size. Why am I so bad with card names?
Umbra and Informant.
Informant, yeah. So
Yeah.
I could foresee an Astral deck that uses Informant, uses several unaligned cards. It abuses the synergies with the top of your discard pile with this card.
Mm-hmm.
Those decks are so aggressive, and getting this much more reach out of them would be interesting.
So the
Wow,
downside is if you do want to cycle through your Astral cycle, it's so like I think it's a different deck than the normal Astral deck where it just kind of want to go like whatever solar, lunar, gravity, solar, lunar, gravity, you know, etc., etc. This one you just kind of want to keep one kind of element and just like chug whatever other thing at them.
Yeah, I feel like this card is a little bit similar to the one that makes all of your discarded cards on top have every element.
I think it's two
Yeah.
different deck though. Like I think this one cares for like one element, the other card cares for every element.
Yeah, but I guess my point of that is that the effect didn't really feel worth the effort on that card.
Right. It was like a one-off. I tried it as a one-off. It wasn't super exciting, but when it worked, it worked.
Yeah.
I think the thing about this card is you don't. The conky corner I think does make. You can
Yeah.
just set up a turn where you're just like I just gonna draw cards and like not waste. You know, like where a relative user, you kind of have to have the sculpt your hand first and then set up your relative user turn. Whereas this, you can just like drop it and then keep drawing cards.
Yeah. This also lets you do the turn with like Pathfinder and then Chimchu Infiltrator,
Yep.
which a lot of times you want to do those together, but Lunar being on top is always an issue, it feels like, in Astral.
So, will this move Infiltrator back into your deck?
I don't see why not.
It's
Burn does not prevent card from getting put back to the deck. It only prevents getting put into the
Remove from
Stored.
this card.
stored, and it prevents moving out of the discard pile, but doesn't say prevent moving to the deck. So I don't see. I think it works with burn cards.
So you get to play 7 Infiltrators? Is that what this means? I like
so
that.
you get to play 9 Jesters?
Yeah. All right. So abusing burn cards is definitely an interesting thing about this. That's a good point. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, this is the most exciting card we've seen so far, out of Astral.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no Robot Factory, but it's pretty sweet.
It ain't no time shifter, but you know, it's still cool.
It's not a time shifter, but yeah. All right, cool.
I just like more buffs that have clunky corners in general, like that triggers during specific instead of just like a timing issue.
Yeah.
So you can get your maximum uses out of it.
Basically.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what kind of grindy Astral decks can make use of that. Did it have burn on it? I don't remember. Yeah, it
It
does.
does.
Yeah, it has
It had
burn.
burn.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Flare Main Prowler. Turn damage to your target on the 4th corner. Gain 1 additional action. Zeph, I think it's you.
I like this card. The fact that you get to have once you get rotate all the way around, you get that additional action. It kind of like pays for itself from being played down. So, the bounce.
If you think about it, it's trading 2 damage for an action, which is like a deal I'd take anytime. If you think about Mage Ship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're getting to the 8th corner, so this is like Prism Cannon, basically. It's got 8 value because the action's worth 3. So this is like a less bursty version of Prism Cannon, I feel like.
But yeah, Prism Cannon is red though. Like, Mage Ship is basically, the Astral Prism Cannon. And it's like, pretty sure it's solar too. I'm trying to remember what Mage Ship is. So it's like
solar.
basically like a swap. Like, would you trade 2 damage for action? Yeah, 100%. I would take the additional action over.
Yeah, and the other thing, you don't have to work for this one. Like if you're thinking about something like Dawnstalker on the 4th corner, you kind of have to set that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the card that can rotate this back would be pretty sweet too if you're getting 8.
Oh yeah,
value
yeah.
out of
If
it.
you get to buy this back, it's just like even better.
Yeah.
And
Light
people
Lasher,
was
that's
fine.
what I'm-
Yeah, yeah. People was fine like lashering Mitch because Mitch still dealt like a crap ton of damage.
Yeah. Yeah, this card seems pretty strong. Anything you can abuse with Light Lasher seems really good.
Really good.
And this is better than Mage Ship to abuse with it, so.
Yeah. I would have to agree.
All right, what we got?
Am I
next?
misremembering Mitch Chip, by the way? I feel like
7 damage on the third corner.
oh, is it third corner? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You're right.
All right.
But yeah, I would definitely take an extra action over it.
Yeah.
3. So
Yeah, this is a pretty sweet card. So Guard Howler is our next card. It's Lunar, 2 healing, draw a card face up. If it's Chimchu, gain 1 additional action. All right, Zeph.
So the 2 healing is not bad, but I mean, this card really revolves around you having your deck full of Chimchus, which are not. I don't think there's not many of right now. So I would have to say it's like mediocre, probably below par.
Yeah, it
My
seems
opinion.
so. 2 healing and draw a card, you get that's 5 points, and then if you hit the Chimchu, that's an 8-point card. So you're having to do a lot of work for it, and there's just not enough Chimchu support to make it worth the 8 points consistently. So
Yeah.
yeah, in it itself, it's not a card. So they're wanting to promote like cross, subclass decks instead of just all Chimchu or all whatever. And I think it makes it a lot weaker because of that.
So there is, spoiler alert, but there is a combo that like flips your deck upside down, so you always see what card is next. I'm not sure. Like, I kind of left at that card when I saw it at first, just because it seems really silly and fun. But I'm wondering with all the effects with what's on top of your deck, if it's actually worth it.
Can you manipulate it though? Like if you just
Let's look-
playing with. Do you remember playing with Corsair Crewfix? It's like a lot better when you can manipulate the card in your deck compared
Yeah.
to just like the top card. It's not what you want, and you're kind of like stuck with it. So I think you still need to be able to manipulate the top card of the deck, even if you know what it is.
Yeah, it's a antimatter field.
Yeah. That's how I feel every time when I Moonlight Burrow and I don't need the next 4 cards. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a long ride.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get to actually shuffle your deck in this game. Yeah, so antimatter field. I don't know. I think it might not be enough value, even with getting to know your top card every time.
Mhm.
Right. Because you still need to play with the Chimchu, and they still need to come up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what are you doing until you have antimatter field? Like, trying to get lucky?
Yeah, I'm
No,
not
no
too
thanks.
impressed. Now, if this card was like Chimchu itself, it might build a deck down the line. But like, this card being like Beast and requiring Chimchu, and it's like you can't even chain it.
Yeah. Yeah, now Astral needs, like, the families to chain along with the elements. Like, it's kind of starting to hurt my head.
Yeah, I think they might have added too many that they care about, not enough support. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, so we got the next one is Hail Fairy Berserker. If you receive 1 or more healing when you have 10 or less health, before the healing is applied, deal turn damage to your target.
Okay.
This is Alex, I think.
It's 12 points. 12 points under very specific circumstances. But the circumstance is not that specific, right? I mean, I guess you don't want to get below 10 anyway. So it's kind of dangerous when you get to that point.
Yeah.
So it's really like value-wise, this is worth a card because 12 points is for one card a lot of damage.
Yeah.
It's like electrified mode,
Where's Flynamo at when you want it?
right?
I was thinking the exact same thing.
This would be like free with final,
And
and
then
it does
you-
require you to have another card that heals you. So like 12 points is a lot for one card, but it's also harder to get compared to like electrified mode, where it's just like, all right, they attack you, take 3.
Yeah. Some
So-
of the items that heal you when they do their, when you attack with them might be enough value. Like you could see attacking with an item, hitting them for 5 damage and playing another healing card and trigger this twice.
I don't think it's a matter of like how often you trigger it, so much as like, okay, how likely are you to get into that situation? I think that's sounds the same, but it's slightly different.
Well, no, I was actually meaning like you would want to get out of that situation the turn you were in it. So, like,
Right.
you're going to trigger this for 1 with your item, and then do some kind of burst heal to get out of that range.
So you'd have to be like 9, heal 1, you go to 10, and then heal like gigantic amount
Yeah.
after that.
I mean, 10 is so low. I just feel,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think if this was like the tech life where it's just like 14, 15, I could see it a lot more. But like being at 10, I think it's too dangerous for this card. So I'd probably, as good as the value of it looks, I don't think it's that amazing.
In my opinion, this is like a slightly worse phase shift.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This is slightly worse.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of value out of one card, but it seems like for you to not like telegraph this, and for your opponent to put you less than 10 without just killing you, it seems really easy for them to play around too.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like you could play in a way where you play this, and then they're just gonna set up like a big combo. They just one shot,
Mm-hmm.
unless you play
Mhm.
like Crystal Core.
Yeah.
I guess you have to play Crystal Core with it to get the most out of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not
if somebody like looks at you and you're at less than 10, you pretty much die. So lots of value, maybe still not a good card though.
I can see this
I would
card
say
being,
it needs a very specific deck. I don't think you just put it into like an Astral deck without like a game plan.
I think this card would be really good in Lalu the Rascal.
Is that what's Lalu do? I'm forgetting.
It's when you have less than 10 health, you gain additional action at the start of your turn.
Oh, okay. I was actually thinking of Jolty when Alex mentioned the Crystal Core, because Jolty is probably the best hero at living at very low health. Yeah, so
Yeah,
some kind of
true.
Jolty. Well, like that deck isn't trying to kill you like with little chunks, I don't think either. Like it's usually trying to mill you. So like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where the home is. It's a powerful card though. Like maybe there will be a home for it because of that.
Maybe.
Okay, next card we have Ice Feather Mystic. Rotate one of your action buffs 2 steps forward. If you have drawn a card this turn, gain 1 additional action. All right, Zeph.
So, I feel like there's a lot of cards that like let you draw cards, like during your turn. So I feel like most of the time, if you're playing this, you probably build your deck in a certain way to get this for free. So, I would say it's like a slightly above average. I mean, I like this card. Be able to like chain into it and play Selene, or like play Selene, draw cards, rotate your buffs, and then gain additional action. I think it's good.
Yeah. It kind of
Also,
makes me think of abusing the 4th quarter buffs. So like
Right.
your Astronomer.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Actually, that would work. So if you rotate Astronomer, you'll draw the 4 cards, and then when it reads the second part, you get the action. Isn't that right?
Does that work like
Yeah.
that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then the card we talked about earlier, where you get the action from it. would be the Flare Main Prowler. So anything that
Oh, yeah.
you're abusing like a fourth corner surprise, I think is pretty good. Dawnstalker with a big surprise hit for 10 would be pretty sweet. What do you think, Alex?
So most of the time you kind of want to rotate backward just to you get the effect again. Most of the time you don't really want to fast forward. I feel like fast forwarding has implication in terms of like surprising them with unexpected damage or unexpected whatever. Whereas going backward means you get efficiency because this is not adding to your damage, right? It's like just getting there faster.
Correct.
And then the additional action requires card drawn this turn, and as Zeph said, it's really easy to get that if you like build your deck in any amount of way that requires that. So I think it's a piece for a specific deck, not so much as just a card you just play
Yeah.
because you have buffs.
Yeah, I think I like this card more and more just looking at the options because I'm also looking at Sunplane Charger here. You can get 2 activations in 1 turn out of it.
Yeah. And you can also do like you can have like Star and Tusker on top, and then you can draw at the beginning of your turn, and then you can play this card to get Sunhugger for a lot of damage from Star and Tusker. You rotate it. You rotate it 1, and then you rotate to just third and fourth corner for a huge chunk of damage.
Yeah. It can activate Frozen Totem the turn you play it.
That's not bad. Or if you want to be cheeky, you can activate that Lunar Offering too.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 steps is a lot, but it may not be worth a whole card. So I think this one's probably borderline, but I definitely see some good surprises, like a Sunhugger with a Tusker
Right.
on
Anything
top.
that requires additional setup gets better because you get the setup like immediately. But it requires very specific buffs to rotate. I don't think it just like rotate any buff and get value out of it.
Mm-hmm. So
Also,
kind of the line that I'm thinking about, we had the card that does 2 damage. You gain 1 health, you draw a card. If you had a Sunhugger out, Tusker on top, Observatory out, like it's pretty well, no, because you'd have to get the Tusker out second. Did that one give you another action? The one that did the 2 life draw a card? Like, was there a way to get another action?
I think wasn't it if it was Chimp Chew, you get another action.
Let's see. I don't remember if it was a attack or defend.
This defend the Howler.
If it's another Chimp Chew, you get like I think an additional action. No, if it's Chimp Chew, because that you're talking about how it was a beast, and if it was a Chimp Chew, it would have been better.
Yeah, the priest is the one I'm talking about here.
Oh, the priest.
Yeah, so that's probably too much stuff to like that wouldn't work well together. So I don't know. Maybe some deeper deck building might kind of show where this is potentially beneficial.
And it's also important to know, spoiler alert, there's a gravity item that lets you draw cards. So if you have superior gravity, you could just activate this really easily.
Mm-hmm. I do like things that give you an action while putting a different element on top.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, next card. Impatient Scholar. Look at the top card of your deck. You may choose to either discard it to draw 2 cards or put it back to deal 4 damage to your target. Whose turn is it?
I think it's mine.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so it's a bit of card selection. So I kind of like the first option a lot more than the because you're essentially discarding something you don't need and then potentially drawing into something that you're looking for. So it's dig 3, which is actually pretty good card.
Yeah, and it's par at that point, and you're getting
Yeah.
information. 2 cards for
Right.
2 actions.
Because sometimes you don't need quantity. Sometimes you just need quality, and this
Mhm.
gets you a little bit of quality, which
Mhm.
is kind of rare from the stuff I've seen before. Yeah, it's like when you put it back though, it's not very good. I think that's the downside. Like if you just want to keep it and then deal for damage, that's not very exciting.
Well, I mean, you can also, if it's a card you don't want to discard, you can like shapeshifter into it, knowing what you're gonna get. So that'll be like, depending on if it's solar or gravity, you can like get additional 5 damage or additional 5 healing to that. So it isn't
Sure,
all
but
bad.
that's shifter that's doing the thing, whereas the card itself is only dealing for damage.
Yeah.
Mm.
I will say though, like the value isn't just horrible. Like you do 4 damage and you see the top card of your deck, so maybe you're trying to set up a shapeshifter or you're trying to set up anti-gravity field for the win.
Sure.
So
There is value in the top card, but it's like the number for keeping it feel like it's a bit on the low side.
yeah. Yeah, so unless it's a really big deal to keep it, you probably get even value and you get information.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just don't need certain cards. Like you were digging for like a Pathfinder or digging for something very specific, like a Subjugator or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's where this card shines.
Hey, it's a solar defend. we
Just
need a
what we need.
replacement for Sunbeacon, so I don't know. I don't know if this is close enough.
The interaction I like with this card is that you can, like, let's say your top card is a Tusker, you can discard it and draw 2 cards.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. So
Then you trigger both of your fortresses that are out.
yeah. Mm-hmm. With 1 action.
Yeah, I like that. That's magical Lightseekers land. That's what that is. There used to be a Magic deck called Magical Christmas Land that was pretty fun. All right, next card. Loyal Furhorn. I didn't know if I could say that. Okay. 3 damage. If your last discarded card is a Chimchu, you may return 1 of your buffs to your hand. Zeph, you want to take this one?
I feel like, again, you have to like build your deck around this. I don't think it's viable yet. Since there are not really that many Chimchu buffs, I believe. Wait, no.
Well, no,
Wait.
it's just any buff.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So my issue with this again is this another beast card that needs Chimchu. So you're like they're trying to force beast Chimchu decks that doesn't work with each other. Because like with the other one too, it's like it's a beast card that requires Chimchu. So if you want to get like the most out of the Chimchu, you want a lot of Chimchu, but then the cards that care about Chimchus are not Chimchu. So I don't like so far. I'm not.
I think the buffs that you can return to your hand from Astral might give this card enough value, because if you think of things like Subjugator that people have been abusing lately, or just getting more Flying Fortresses, the power of the buffs that you can get back is interesting. And you might be playing a few Chimchu cards anyways, like the Blacksmith, Chimchu Infiltrator. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so if you're like only relying on Blacksmith and Chimchu Infiltrator, would you play this card? I don't think I would, but you know.
I don't know. 3 Blacksmiths, 3 Infiltrators is probably enough.
Because not only do you have to draw them in order, you have to actually want to play them in.
So what what is the percentage of having all 3 cards in your hand? Does anyone know? Does anyone know the percentage of that? Or having the 2 cards in your hand?
Well, it's not even just the 2 cards. Like you also have to have something you want to.
Yeah, you got to have something timed right where you want to return it.
Yeah. I don't think this card would go in the Flying Fortress deck because mostly you want to make sure the amount of defense you have is enough so you can trigger mostly every time. And I don't think this card, is I would justify playing in that deck.
There are some pretty good buffs though that we've talked about, like Battle Priestess, Astronomer, Dawnstalker. I guess those are all the big value ones.
Yeah.
Lunar Offering, after it does its thing. You never want to return Paralysis Bug, pretty much. Return Skyward Observatory. Returning a Sunhugger would be pretty sweet. That card has a ton of value. And it would have already done everything it wants to. So it's relatively aggressive on, I think, what it can return. Probably not playable because your blacksmiths you're going to want to play out earlier anyways. So it's not likely to have a blacksmith in your hand. So the most likely thing would be an infiltrator into Furhorn and then return a buff. But your infiltrators you want at very specific times too. So the likelihood of being able to set this up right is pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
How we got to pick our best 3 cards? Okay, Moonbeak Corvid. We kind of looked at this one. If your last discarded card is solar, deal turn damage to your target. If it's gravity, turn healing.
I like this card.
I do too.
It's 7 total of damage and or healing most of the time. I mean, unless it's lunar. Kinda don't want lunar on the top, obviously.
Or if you have a combo on top.
Right, that's even better if you have a combo. If you have solar plus gravity, then it's all the value.
14 value out of 1 card. That,
yeah.
I mean, Astral does some really unfair things, but 14 out of 1 card is pretty up there.
So most of the time you're gonna combo first and then play this. So.
Or you could just play this and
on the second one
and throw your combo in the discard pile.
11.
Like 14 value might be enough to throw your combo away with Cassini.
The word.
I guess. Depends on what the combo is.
Yeah. I mean, if you're playing against aggro and you want to win the race and they've already used some buffs removal, like that's a very legitimate play, I think. I mean, you're pretty much getting a combo if you're doing 14 value.
Yeah. 14 is basically 7 damage, 7 healing is a combo.
Yeah.
I can see that.
This is a little bit interesting to me in my, I'm getting excited now. 4-color Blacktail, because the cross-order combos count as everything.
They do.
Yeah, because it's Astral. Therefore, it is all the thing.
And I don't really have a good defensive, like, that. The deck is missing a good race card. And 14 swing is decent racing. After you Blood Mood them, throw this down. Okay.
Yeah, this is another card that gets better with Observatory, so the double dipping, if you get it.
Yeah, I think this card's sweet. Finally see one that's good.
It's only common.
Yeah. All right, Blacktail. I'm excited to try that card out. All right, our next card is Lunar. It's a Snowcast Seer. Draw 1 card when this enters play, and when it expires, any other hero that draws a card must do so face up. Zeph?
When it expires. I feel like it has good use because you get to see what card your opponent's drawing, and like it lets you plan around that. So, and you also get a card for you get a card, you get two cards, one for playing it and one for expiring. So I feel like it kind of like evens out.
It's a free card, which is really
Yeah.
good. And it's a free card that has implication. So, do they still like not let you write down cards, or are you like supposed
You
to
can't
just
take
remember
notes.
things still?
Yeah.
See, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But
Wait, what happened?
whatever.
You can't take notes during the game.
Yeah.
That is still the dumbest. Don't get me started on tournament. That's actually one of the reasons I kind of don't want to play in real life, because like I'm used to a lot of tournament rules from Magic that just makes sense, but it's, I guess, also takes a lot of time if you think about it, where Lightseekers just don't let you go.
I personally hate the writing down. Like, I would rather test someone's memory as a skill versus letting the game slow down and people write stuff down. So, like, they actually changed one of the rules recently where you can see your opponent's discard pile, and that was another memory test, in my opinion. So,
Well, no,
I mean,
that's always been the rule. You couldn't see like anything but the top card.
no, but they changed it. Now you can review the whole
Yeah.
discord pile.
Yeah, now you can go through a
Oh,
different file.
okay.
So they took.
Okay, so that's at least one fight that I guess I kind of like got pissed off at that rule.
See, I'm on the opposite side of both of those. I prefer to speed the game up and test your memory because I think it's another skill that is kind of part of the equation. And I don't try to remember everything, but you can keep your mind aware of a few key things that you want to remember. And I think it raises the skill level for the game when you have to add that in. So, I don't know.
I think it's unnecessarily complicates the game.
Yeah.
I feel like going through discard pile is pretty huge because for me, there's no way you're gonna remember the first card to play, especially for Fleximo. So, the fact you're able to see the first card, after through the
That,
whole
oh yeah,
game,
that's the thing. Like, how do you make sure that they're not like cheating with Fluximo and stuff like that, where the cares on the bottom? So, I think it's a good change where you can actually see the whole discard pile.
Yeah. Or they pick the pile up and take the bottom card. But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. It's probably fine either way.
But the card itself is fine. It's actually free card. It cycles.
Mhm.
It's lunar. So if that matters, they're probably incentivized to blow it up so you don't get the card. But at the same time, it's even
They
if they
wasted
blow it
best
up,
removal.
you already drew a card, even if it doesn't expire naturally.
hmm
And yeah,
But your opponent also gets the information. Oh, no, any other hero.
any
No,
other hero.
so it's only your opponent.
I thought it
Yeah.
said any hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's worth a slot. I don't think the effect is worth a slot, though. Really.
But it's not costing you anything. So it's like if you're wanting to play with a 32 card deck.
Yeah. I mean, it might just get taken away with another buff they care about, too.
And but if they remove it, that's their thing, and they want to remove it, they
Yeah.
waste their buff removal.
It might be interesting in, like, a hand-hate version of a aggro deck, which I feel like has been on the borderline of playable for a while now. And since this cycles and gives you information for what you're going to hit with the hand-hate cards, maybe there's enough value there. All right, what's next? All right, Starforged Warrior, 3 damage. When this card is on top of your discard pile, all other heroes' items are dormant.
Item. So this is very. When it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
When it doesn't do anything, that is really bad. Because you're only getting 3 damage for it.
Yeah.
So
Sideboard card, yeah.
Yeah.
Crystal Core hate.
Yeah. This is really good against Crystal Core.
I feel like this card is really good against Mimicking Horror Triani.
Yeah.
You just play when they're about to do crowding, you just play it, and they can't literally can't do anything about it. They can't mimic horror.
Yeah. So the other thing that could make this non-sideboard is if the meta gets really warped towards multicolor decks. Usually I'm
But that's
splashing
still
multicolor.
kind of like a sideboard thing because you're attacking in. Because you could also play against the one guy that's like mono attack or whatever, and then that's still kind of a bad card because it's a meta call.
Well, it's the same deal about playing Jester main versus side, I think it depends on how heavy the meta gets shifted towards item decks, which, I don't know. With all these new items, it could be pretty heavy towards items, so.
Yeah, and then this is another card where that other card that says, like, put the, whatchamacallit, attack cards on the bottom. If you play this and then play the buff, then you can just keep it around at the top forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say that most of the time when I'm splashing, it's for healing. So you could use this aggressively too, because if you can, Trianu plays the thing to get two confused shamans back, and then you do 3 damage and make their item useless. You might just win that game after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting card.
Yeah, I would agree.
White box again. Lots of user error today. Alright. Sunplane Charger. Turn damage to your target. Restart this buff if your last discarded card is Gravity. Zeph?
Hold on, it's loading up real quick. Okay. I feel like this is good. 'Cause like you said, buffs that that you say in play indefinitely or keep looping, meaning they have to do something about it. And sometimes, most of the time, you're gonna be able to have the gravity on top, be able to restart this. So I would say it's like par, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I love these kind of effects personally. Things that can do repetitive damage.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that this game is like lacking. That's why I really liked Trenu back then, was because you had the Tusker and Behemoth, where it just like sticks around and then you could just do damage whenever you want to.
Yeah. I mean, Power Hoarder feels really strong, and your opponent can disrupt it very easily. I feel like this is a little more consistent version of Power Hoarder. And you're not, I mean, Tusker kind of went down on my list because it forces your hand to use action at specific times unless you want to just let it go away. And this card, you're not using action to restart it, so I kind of like that. It's a buff that you can lay down by itself and they have to deal with as well, which I'm a big fan of. One buff that's a good threat. So I'm a pretty big fan of this card.
This card sounds like it'll be really good with like the Flynamo, the new Flynamo on the app.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like new Flynamo. I do miss old Flynamo, but new Flynamo is pretty fun.
I never knew such a simple ability could be so good.
Yeah. It looked innocent. Alright. Suntop Gallery. Unique. Increased damage, healing, and draw effects from Chimchu cards by 1 if your last discarded card is Lunar. This is like new power. What do you think, Alex?
It's another thing that's non-Chimchu that cares about Chimchu. There needs to be like, I don't know. Is there like, if there's like a way to manipulate the subclass like at some point, then I feel like all these Chimchu cards would get a lot better, but
Yeah.
not too excited about this one. And it also requires your last discarded card to be Lunar. There's so many hoops.
Yeah.
So many hoops.
The Chimchu cards, like, aren't really just taking huge advantage of this, except maybe the priest.
I mean,
But then it's like you jumped through so many hoops and you did 3 healing, 2 damage, and drew 2 cards. Like,
yeah, I mean that's like the only one though.
I mean, and it's still
That's like everything.
yeah, yeah. Problem of not enough chim chews again, and too many hoops for Astral.
Yeah, Astral already has enough hoops. Like adding the subclass hoops is like what?
Yeah, I think it's making the Kindred pretty low powered just because there's not enough to go with it right now. So Astral, I feel like Astral kind of is taking a big hit with Kindred. But this is only our second color, so I mean, other sets might have similar non-fleshed out family issues.
No, it definitely took a big hit from Snow Beacon.
Yeah. All right, so our next one is Telestin Priest, 2 healing, 1 damage to your target, draw 1 card. We're just looking at it. What do you think about this one, Zeph?
It's a little bit of everything. So I mean, I guess you can like do Skyward Observatory to do 4 healing and 3 damage and draw a card. I mean, it isn't bad. But I wouldn't play it myself personally.
Yeah. It is a defend that draws you a card.
I think this is actually better than initial impression for me, just because if you think about it, you're about probably like 0.5 point, like 0.5, 0.5 short from like ideal. But if you think about like delivery crap and Chronomoth, it's about basically what this card is. Like if you move some numbers around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then being 2 different effects means you get to double dip with the observatory, which is like if you get to do that, then this is way above par. Whereas if you just like do, any power increasing with like Chronomoth, you're only getting like whatever the number is, not 2 times the number.
Yeah. I do think Observatory is exciting with this card.
Right. So I think on the baseline, I would play it even if I don't have Observatory. But with Observatory, it's better. And then there are some benefits from just like 1 damage. Like if there's like a mountain fort, just like, all right, ping it. Prevents like 3 damage, but you're only dealing 1, so like you're getting value out of that.
That's a good point. I think,
and then you're drawing a card. So yeah.
So there's a card that I've been messing around with, and what is this? Let's see. It's the one that increases if you play a Flame Chained Elder. So if you play a fire card, all your other cards deal turn more damage and healing. And splashing into multi-order is pretty interesting with this card. So anything that's doing 2, like you can get so much value out of these corners.
Right. So you just want to double dip as many times as you can. Like there are a lot of cards that double dip, and this one is one that's like looks like low value, but also like low risk because draw card.
Yeah. If you hit Flame Chain Elder on all, if you activate it once even, and this isn't even taking extra actions, 6, 12, 20 points of value out of this 1 card. So having another card that doesn't care, like that it's an Astral card that doesn't really care what else is going on top of this card, whatever, and it's another option for Flame Chain. So I think Flame Chain is like very on the verge of playable right now. So
yeah, basically just want to get as many things to double dip.
Yep.
Is there a fire and gravity hero? I don't think there is. Just make sure.
Let me see real quick. Wait.
And then I completely forgot about Flame Chained Elder.
You have your rarity check.
Yeah, they're all going to be mythics.
Okay.
I mean something like Tuck 2 might be interesting.
I think Tug 2 would be, yeah.
The version I was playing before was just the ancient because you can run heroic starfish with the water. You can run crystal bat with the crystal, and you could splash into gravity and have more of those effects, possibly. I don't know if the gravity item's any good though.
The gravity item's pretty good. It's Zuna.
Oh, that'd be pretty sweet. Everybody's a Zuna.
Yeah.
And then is it a 2 cost to equip?
It's a 1 cost.
A 1 cost. Okay, so then you still have room for crystal core, so you play like your 3 blacksmiths. So that wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Try and think. You get like combo buffs from that. The multicolor. So you get the avalanche. No, you have avalanche. You have tsunami, and meteor shower all access to.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's a lot of value in one deck. And then you're also getting your buff removal from your water cards. Yeah, that'd be interesting. All right. Moving on. Decent card there. Telestin Priests. There's so many good gravity cards in Astral, though. All right. Our next card is Telesta Protector. Reduce damage received by turn. Corner 2, turn healing. All right. What do you guys think? We've got 4 damage reduction on the first corner and 2 healing on the second corner.
It's pretty reasonable. Not too excited, but it's reasonable. If you want that kind of effect, if you want like a damage reduction, because I think the other one is like on 2, 3, 4. Damage reduction ideally you want on first corner, but you also ideally want multiple turns of damage reduction to kind of just like hold off what they're doing while you get your stuff back up. So this one only gives you like 1 turn and then a little bit of healing.
They'd really have to telegraph the damage to make this one worth it. Because a lot of other ones you just kind of have sit out there while you're building your hand.
Yeah.
But it does do, like it blanks a Storm Shaman, for instance.
Sure.
It blanks Stellar Fusion for a turn.
Yep. It blanks Storm Shaman, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I thought Colossal Artifact is like still pretty good, right? If you just need that kind of effect.
Yeah. Yeah, but this being lunar is kind of a big deal, I think, too.
Okay.
And then it can make the Mimicking Horror turn like possibly not lethal.
Yeah.
They're only going to do 2 sources of 10 damage.
What do you think about this in Blacktail?
It's not as good as Oracle and Blacktail because you need time to set your hand up. You're not as concerned about one burst turn, usually. And all the burst is usually set up with buffs, which you have a ton of buff removal, so Oracle is surprisingly better. Yeah. I think this is kind of midway. It could see some play, I think, depending on the style of decks that get popular.
Yeah.
It totally blows out the person's turn where they're using the red damage increase, the Colossal Ritual Sight, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then they get negative value for using it.
Yep.
Yeah, so they're probably just Dolo.
Dolo YOLO for 3 damage.
All right, what we got next? Well, how are we doing? How are we doing on time? How long have we been going for?
I believe we've been here for like an hour and a half.
Okay. All right, our next card is Treetop Trading Post. Burn when you play a Chim Chu card. Store your last discarded action card under this. Defend ability, move stored cards to your hand. More Chim Chu. Anybody want to talk about this one?
There's not enough Chim Chus to justify playing this.
Yep.
That's just all pretty much all I have to say about this card.
It's powerful though, right? Like,
Yeah, it's powerful. I'm pretty sure it'll get powerful when more sets gets released and more Chimp stuff gets released. But I don't see it being playable right now though.
yeah.
This one actually is like one of the one that might be enough on like 3 blacksmith, 3 whatever as just one off, but it's also kind of a hard call.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only the last discarded action, which
Yeah.
like, making sure you get things you want is going to be a little difficult.
Yeah.
But returning 3 things that you're choosing is an interesting effect at the very least.
Hmm.
I mean, somewhat choosing. There's not enough Chimchus to really.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's the thing though. If you're only gonna be getting the first card back because if you play Chimchu, the Chimchu is gonna go into the discard pile, and the next Chimchu card you're gonna play is gonna get the next Chimchu card, the first Chimchu card you play.
Well, you could
If
like
you
alternate.
decide, yeah, yeah. But that's what
Well,
happens
okay,
if you
so-
decide back to back.
With Infiltrator, you're essentially getting a lunar card. So it's just like, because otherwise it doesn't,
Yeah.
or you don't get anything. So you get a lunar card back, and then you get whatever card into your hand with it.
I mean, would you possibly do this in like an aggressive deck with Lookout? Is that enough value? It's 3 actions for 3 cards, so I guess you're kind of par even if you jump through all the hoops necessary.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I probably wouldn't play it.
Nope.
It's
Nope.
too many setup.
Next.
Rip Astral. Wah wah.
Whatever. Don't make people think you're not playing Astral.
Well, I'm playing Astral from set 2.
Yeah. No Kindred Astral.
No Kindred Astral.
All right. Twilight Oracle. It's a lunar card, 2 healing. Draw 1 card face up. If that card is not lunar, increase the healing done by 2.
4 healing, draw a card. Play that.
Mhm.
Pretty good. It's
I mean,
like,
this is... Go ahead.
yeah, it's like above delivery crab if you hit, and then below when you don't. So it's kind of on average delivery crab.
Well, and also, like, if you remember us building Astral decks, like, Lunar is probably the least common. And Astral really likes to draw cards, like, with Fortresses out. Is this better than the 4 healing gain another action, though? Like, that's probably the spot it takes.
What's your 4 healing?
What's the requirement for that?
Oh, you call it
Tactician. Tactician, yeah.
If you have gravity on top?
Gravity on top.
I think this will be better. I mean, I think this would be really good in Blacktail.
That is a very good point. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this might be a 3 of in Blacktail, actually.
Because you pretty much guaranteed to like not have a lunar next card you draw, and you get 4 healing, and the card draw is like more cards to attack with. Cool.
Yeah. Dig to your blacksmiths to set up your combos and.
Yep.
All right, so this bye lunar offering probably in Blacktail. Yeah. Okay. So this is good in non-astral decks, basically.
Yeah. Mhm. For sure.
All right, that one's kind of exciting. Anything's exciting if you can play it in 4-color Blacktail.
I still haven't seen this 4-color Blacktail. I don't think I have. I have to check it out sometime.
It runs wind controllers as well, so like you triple avalanche someone, or or you have like your you have one of your like meteor showers out. You play the wind controller, and then the next turn your meteor shower comes back to your hand, and then you start avalanching them 3 times in a row. It's too much fun. Like it's probably like tier 1.5, tier 2, something like that. But it can win some games for sure. All right, Vortex Slayer. Remove one elemental buff from the recipient. If your last discarded card is gravity, you draw 2 cards. Wow. All right, who wants to take this one?
If it hits, if it matters, essentially, if you can get the elemental buff, I think this is pretty good. I mean, it's obviously above par if you get to kill a buff and then draw 2 cards. If you don't, then it's just a card to draw 2 cards, which is reasonable, but not the most exciting.
Yeah, Abyss Tentacle is all the abysses are elementals.
Yeah, so you side this in against Dread, and then just wreck all their buffs.
Yeah, Flame Chain Elder, Hurricane Spirit. Yeah, so there's not enough like in every color. A Spirit Channeler, that's a pretty good one.
It's mostly just Dread.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably not main deckable, even though it kind of replaces itself. I don't know that the effect when it actually gets someone is worth it. It's
Spirit Channeler.
It is Spirit Channeler. It is a Chimchu. Like, it's a Chimchu that just replaces itself. So it kind of lets you sneak some Chimchus into bad Chimchu strategy. Decent card. I'm ready for some sideboarded matches. I haven't really got to play since the new sideboard rules came out. That format.
So are there have they announced that the tournament's going to be like constructed, or they're going to be advanced?
It'll probably be
We don't
some
know
of both.
anything
I'm not really sure. It was weird that one Nationals was, constructed single deck and one was advanced.
Yeah, I found out a bit weird myself.
Yeah. Okay, next card. Almost done here. I've got, this is the last Astral. Wandering Starformer. Puking out a fish tank, it looks like. I love that picture. 4 damage. If your last discarded card is solar, you draw 1 card. What do you think, Zeph? This is a gravity that wants solar.
Yeah.
Like, usually gravity wants, more often it seems they want lunar.
Yeah, that's what's throwing me off a little bit. 4 damage is not bad. I mean, because there's a lot of cards that do 4 damage with an additional effect. But I mean, I guess it's par. It's stuff like I know there's cards like other cards that do 4 damage, but you have to do like another condition to it. But this one seems really easy to pull off, since you can Astral pretty much about chaining your elements on top. So I would maybe play this one, maybe.
Yeah, I just think there's probably stronger cards in Gravity. Like, I feel like Gravity is the best element. It's the most overloaded element in an Astral, and I think this one probably loses out to better Gravity cards.
Yeah.
Would you rather play this or like anti-gravity?
Neither.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, the Astral decks I've been building just are really, really heavy on gravity, to the point where I'm starting to think like even anti-gravity field is a big risk, because Paralysis Bug was one of the latest additions to, and Paralysis Bug is amazing, but it gives you even more gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you don't ever want to play anti-gravity style, then this is also pretty bad.
Yeah. It's a pretty sweet option for like an aggressive Astral deck that actually attacks you rather than trying to draw defense. Like, so maybe there's a different Astral that's been popular that this might have a spot in.
I can see that happening.
Yeah. All right, well, that wraps up the actions. So, do we want to try to pick our favorite actions?
Can we just pick one?
Yeah. If you're able. All right, Zeph, do you want to go first? I can scroll through real quick so I can remember everything we looked at.
Oh,
I
I
actually
don't
have
remember
4 picked out.
Yeah, 4 picked out.
Yeah.
We can try for 3.
All right. Uh,
All right, that's the end of
all
the
right.
list there.
Okay. So I think I have three. My first one will probably be like Battle Priestess. Since the amount of damage and healing you can pull off with that. My second one is gonna have to be the one that does 5 damage and you gain additional action on corner four.
Right here,
That's
Flare Main Prowler.
hmm And my last one would have to be the Crescent ball circuit cult. It's the
Oh
one where
yeah,
you draw.
yep,
Yeah,
yeah, that
those
one's
have to be
pretty
my
sweet.
three. Yeah.
What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I like the energy hoarder. That's the one that puts stuff on the bottom because it.
The clunky corner.
Yeah. Because it does have Conky Corner, and I think it has implications on other strategies for Astral other than the continuous cycling of the elements. I like the Priest a lot just because it's just pretty clean, I think. And then there are ways you can abuse it. And then I think the Corvid is the one that's like
The
3,
Moonbeak.
4
Yeah,
damage healing if it's like solar or gravity or lunar
yeah,
or whatever that requirements are.
Moonbeak Corvid. Yeah, I think so. Actually, Moonbeak Corvid is probably my favorite one. Just the amount of value you can get out of one card from this is insane. And even if you use one side or the other, you're still getting above par with 7.
Right.
And it's flexible. Like you can, if you want damage or if you want healing, you can
Yeah.
probably make that happen at any point. And if you ever get to do the combo in the yard and trigger both, you're probably winning any aggro matchup you're playing against.
Yeah.
Um, One of my favorites is the Sunplane Charger here, just because I really love the repeatable damage effects.
Yeah. That's my fourth card.
Yeah. Um, and I think this is the easiest one we've had, or it's the least work to reset. And as I was talking about gravity, I feel like gravity is like always the most played in my Astral decks now. So, and last one is Telestin Priest. For obvious abuse reasons, it's par by itself, and then it just goes really well with a lot of different strategies you might want it in. But it is another gravity card as well, so the gravity slots are going to be heavily fought over, I feel like.
Yep.
Yep. Well, cool. That wraps up the actions. Do you guys have time to do the heroes and combos or items?
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. It was nice to have different cards this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris and I's tastes are pretty similar.
All right. So got 3 items in this set for each order. For Astral, we have Crescent Scepter. It's the lunar item. Attack ability 2 damage. Increase this by 1 if your last discarded card is a beast, and move it to the bottom of your discard pile. What do you think, Zeph?
What are the beast cards again?
I don't feel like there were just a ton that we were going to play. Let's see. I'll skim through all the beast cards right now. Beast is the one that really splits orders, it seems like.
Yeah. Hmm.
The one that's gains additional action.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. I mean, there's some really good beast cards in here.
The Corvid. I guess they're enough that you can get
Yeah.
randomly. But then it moves to the bottom.
Yeah.
So you don't get to move anything if it's not a beast, right? I
No.
think that's actually the part that's more interesting for me.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm not too excited.
Yeah. It's
I feel like if
it's
you
good.
get to move the card regardless of whether it's beast or not, then I would actually like it. Because
Well,
then you
if
get to
you're
manipulate your discard pile.
this kind of goes along with Fluximo though. Like if you want to get your beast back with Fluximo, like
Okay.
if the beast ends up being that important, where you spend all those actions to do it, it is a loop that you could do.
Yeah, but it would take you at least like 2 turns to get it back.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a grindy
Mhm.
loop. And within that loop, you're doing damage, which is kind of counterintuitive to a grindy strategy.
Yeah.
It's nice to have lunar items though. It's a 1-pointer, which I prefer. 1-pointers, and it has an attack ability that does damage. So I think it's just nice that all the other orders are getting options like this. Because even if it's not the most exciting thing, there might be times when you want lunar and you want an attack ability.
Yeah.
So, all right. Dust Cleaver is superior solar, 2 to equip. Attack ability 2 damage, gain 1 additional action if you have 10 or less health.
So the additional action is regardless of the ability, or is it attached to the ability?
It's has the ability, so you have to do the ability to get the action.
Because the way like the period makes me think like, or the separate line, it makes me think it's not related to the thing. But
If you look at the next card, I think like I kind of see where you're going with that. Like if it was a buff and in reverse order, maybe. But I think that
it's attached to the ability.
it's
Yeah.
attached to the ability. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in either case, 10 is like on the dangerous territory, and when you're at 10, you don't really want to be like spending something to do damage. But I guess you're getting the additional action back to heal yourself at that point.
Yeah. So it's just a random 2 damage if you have less than 10 health.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like this should be, well, I guess because if it's healing, then you need to be even lower life. So I guess the 2 damage kind of makes sense.
How about that hero we discussed in tech? The one that says if you're below 15, this triggers twice. So if you trigger once, you get 2 additional actions.
Yeah. But then you also only get to play 1 item because this is a 2 cost.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, I think the 2 actions is worse though.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you get to the 2 action, that's fine. But then what are you doing with the 2 action?
Yeah.
You have to be killing them or like not dying, right?
And plus you're splashing solar, which is not very exciting in the first place.
You
I
have to
think
be
Solar had some
10 life,
great aggro
right?
cards.
And you're not gonna Crystal Core because this is the only item that you're gonna play.
Yeah. I don't really like the 2 cost ones right now, but the unaligned card that removes non-superior might prove a bigger deal than I'm thinking right now.
Mhm.
So if you really need your item to stick around, like you might be playing 2 cost items, but I don't think like I've never really been like, oh, I really want to splash solar in my deck. All right, so Shard of Gravis is our gravity item. Defend ability, draw 2 cards, and everybody Zunas.
Yeah, I like this.
I Zuna, you Zuna, we all Zuna.
Yeah.
This card.
It's also
Yeah.
It's also important to note that gravity does have paralysis bug, so you can deny him of drawing a card.
Yeah. Yeah, this card's pretty sweet. Well, actually, you couldn't gravity bug and then activate this because you're not superior.
Oh yeah. Mm.
Unless it was the turn that you blacksmithed it out. No, because then you would still use a gravity to activate it. Never mind, that wouldn't work either. But regardless, I think being able to like give your hero a Zuna ability is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Like the Zuna no buff, being able to apply that strategy to any of the orders now. I like it, and it comes along with repeatable buff removal.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this triggers Flying Fortress and Time Chamber at the same time, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. And I like that they draw face up. Like, I don't. I think that's actually quite a bit of value to always see what they draw.
Mm-hmm.
Because just when people are tuck twoing against me and you see exactly what they're getting, like there's quite a bit of value
play
in
around
that
it, yeah.
information. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Shard of Gravis is probably one of my favorite items in Kindred. I really like that one.
Yeah, no, it's really solid. I might I might play it. It's,
All right, so moving on. Do we want to do heroes or combos next?
I think the combos are pretty interesting.
Okay. All right, antimatter field, 5 damage to all heroes, and then everybody flips their deck upside down. I think we kind of discussed this one earlier. Does anybody have any thoughts after kind of reading over the stuff, or is it still subpar?
Without a way to manipulate, still pretty whatever. Even if you know what your top card is, always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would say it's like a little bit subpar right now.
And the cost kind of sucks. Like if they made it a 3 cost, one of each element, it might be a little better. Black Hole got reprinted. It's relatively interesting. I'm not real sure how to pronounce this. Is it Coronal Loop?
Yeah, Coronal Loop.
Yeah. 10 damage. Move this to your deck if your last discarded card is Gravity. What do you guys think?
Okay. I mean, anything that goes back, we can use it again. It's good. You can get to the point where you just like pay and then get this back and then just keep doing that.
Yeah. And like you said, oh, go ahead.
I like the double solar because I always have a hard time casting my stellar fusions. But Astral has such good combos. Like I had a really hard time thinking what I would actually play this over. So
yeah, it's all too good.
Yeah, all of Astral's combos are too good.
I mean, I guess you can play this over a gravity bubble. No, anti-gravity field.
Yeah. Yeah, that card never helped cast stuff very well anyways. Like, I guess it casts Black Hole pretty well. It's about the only thing.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was horrible watching you always get gravity, though. I mean,
yeah. 2 games had the opponent to 1, and it's always Gravity. Or one time it was just not a defend. The other time it was a Gravity card. All right, Cosmic Chaos, 1 of each element, which is a huge deal, regardless of what it says, I think. But it does 4 damage. You discard the top 3 cards from the recipient's deck. If they include a combo, deal an additional hit of 4 damage.
Mill 3 is pretty big.
Yeah. I really wish this said 4 healing.
Yes.
And was a defend. That would be a big difference.
it's still solid.
Yeah, I don't think you want to do the feel bad. If you hit a combo, they take 8. Like, sorry, your combo's gone and you can take 8.
Well, I mean, if you get rid of the combo, isn't that potentially like healing? Because that's damage you're not taking from a combo?
Yes. So it makes antimatter field a little more interesting because you can always hit their combo. And, like, if you move their reality rift to the discard pile, you probably just win the match. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. A lot of Astral decks have to rely on reality rift to actually win the game. Like, you fight through everything else, and then they reality rift and you lose.
Yeah, yep. I would have to agree on that.
I've seen it happen. What do you think, Alex? Is that playable?
The what?
The Cosmic Chaos.
The Mill 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Mill 3 and I like the one. So.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Our next one is Enlightenment, a solar and a gravity. Draw 3 cards face up. Each solar card revealed this way deals 2 damage to your target. Each lunar card revealed this way heals you for 2. All right, Zeph, I think you're the expert here. Is this one good enough?
I would consider this a fantastic combo. Not only the fact that it's like a 2 cost, it's the fact that there's separate instances of damages. So
Yeah.
for instance, like I'll have Starhorn Tusker on top. It would be, let's say we all draw solar defense. It'll be 4, 8, 12 plus the initial on the flying fortresses.
Yeah.
So I really love this card.
Yeah, this seems pretty sweet.
And it's also a defense, so I mean it helps, trigger flying fortress.
Yep. Yeah, this card's really good.
No, yeah, it's extremely good.
I could see this replacing my anti-gravity field just because that card keeps getting worse for me because I keep putting so much gravity in there.
Yeah.
And this card, and it's an attack, so you're moving towards more defense.
For me, I'm on the border of taking out Black Hole for this card.
Yeah. I just could not ever see myself cutting Black Hole. It's too much of a blowout. Like, there are certain games where nothing else but Black Hole is going to win it for you.
If you get a Black Hole, you pretty much auto win.
Yeah. All right. Enlightenment, that's a cool one. Next one is Eternal Dawn. It's got the clunky cost of 2 solar and 2 lunar. 1 damage to your target at the end of your turn. Increases by 3 if your last discarded card is solar. This cannot be removed if your last discarded card is lunar.
Mm.
What do you think about this, Alex?
Something that a buff that can be removed is good. It's just, what are you getting out of it? You're getting 1 to 3 damage. If you're getting the 3 damage, then you're not getting the protection unless it's a combo that's solar and.
This actually might make the card we were discussing earlier an option. All of your cards are all elements, because
Yeah.
if you have a Tusker on top, you're doing 6 a turn and it can't be removed.
So this can be returned though,
Yes.
right?
Yep. I think the cost is going to kill it for me. Like, I just don't think I want to pay that cost.
Yeah.
I guess your Stellar Fusion, like, it's good at casting Stellar Fusion and it's good with Stellar Fusion. Like, I think you have, like, maybe one... You generally have, like, one flex slot where you might mess around with it in Astral, depending on your builds.
Yeah, I don't think it's like high impact, even if you do like 3 a turn
Mm-hmm.
for that cost.
4 a turn with Solar, but...
Oh, increase by. Okay, so yeah, 4 a turn it gets up there, but then it doesn't action. So ideally, you just want to like sit on like Solar Lunar, but I think that's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unless you're running the buff that just keeps all the elements on top.
Yeah.
Which then you're extending into like a kind of mediocre effect anyways.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's really close to playable, but probably not.
I feel like it's not enough damage.
Yeah.
If it's like
I
2
feel like-
and then +2, I think that would be more reasonable.
It's not the damage. I feel like the cost just kills it though. Like you said, the cost just makes you not want to play it.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have to build all your other buffs around this card if you're wanting to play it. Like, or I mean, all your
Yeah.
other combos around this. Like, it's really bad at casting Black Hole. Alright. Feather Storm, 5 damage. Heal yourself for 3. It costs a solar and a lunar. Increase both effects by 2 if your last discarded card is a Chimchu. So if you have a Chimchu, it's worth 7 and 5, so 12. Which is, I mean, it's one of each effect. This card's probably bad for the Chimchu reason.
Yeah.
Not much to say about that one, probably.
Yeah, womp womp.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything super exciting. It's just pretty straightforward, and you're just looking at numbers and then how you get to the number. And
Yeah.
very good.
It's like not even as good as Sun Beacon.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Lunar Ascension. When you gain any additional actions, draw one card. How much value out of that would you want to get to make that worth it? Like, there's combos that draw you like 4 cards right away.
So you're getting, whenever you're getting additional action, you kind of want to chain, right? But there's also the restriction of you can't play the same card in a turn in this game. That makes this like a lot worse, I feel like, because essentially there are only a handful of cards that give you additional action.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know. I'm not too familiar, or I'm not familiar enough with all the cards that was in set 2.
Yeah. I think a 4-cost combo, like, I would want it to do a little more right away.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even if, like, I'm going to want, with the risk here, I'm going to want to draw 6 to 8 cards to even make this feel worth it. And
I feel like it should have
feel likely to happen.
It should have had a, when it comes to play, gain an additional attacks, and then that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and the cost is horrible. Like, it's one of the 2 and 2 costs, so. Another
If you
womp
could
womp.
get, if you can get like an additional action and a card basically immediately, then that would make the card actually fine. Because otherwise, you're not really getting anything from the first stick. Like, I don't even know why it's active the first time. I guess you could have something that gives you additional action
when you play combo eventually.
Yeah, or something like that, or like celerity or something. But that's like even crazier combo wise, like all the elements.
Well, it would still take all your actions anyway. So
yeah.
All right, we'll write that one off. Moon Warp, Lunar Gravity, corners 1 and 3 reduce damage, corners 4 increase damage. Oh, 1, 2, and 3 reduce damage. Then corner 4 increases damage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Astral increased damage is pretty scary, but I don't know. Does Astral want this effect, Zeph?
No, not when there's better options out there for damage increasing.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of combo damage reduction on combos.
Yeah.
In general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you have, like, Astral got first corner decrease in an action now, so if you really want that effect, like, you probably just play an action for the decreased damage. And
yeah,
I don't see any combos this would take the place of. What is that thing in the picture, though? Is that a goat?
that's like a what is that?
Owl? Some kind of bird? It might be
Like-
an owl.
Like a bear.
A bear.
From what I've seen.
Huh. Yeah, not sure what they're doing there with that picture. It looks
Yeah,
cool.
no. Yeah, look.
All right, so our last combo is a Lunar Gravity, Super Gravity. Reduce damage received by turn. All other heroes' items are dormant. For reasons stated before, this is probably not. We're not a fan of this one, I would assume.
This one is slightly better just because it's cheaper, and
Yeah, it's yep.
killing items for 4 turns could be relevant. That's like the 2 things going.
Mm-hmm. killing items feels like usually as an offensive play to me, and this is a defensive card, so that feels a little
Okay, yeah,
counterintuitive
I can see
to
that.
me.
Yeah.
I guess it does a little
Well, I
of
mean-
each, but
Well, I mean, you can also play this. I'm gonna bring it up again, but you can also play it against like Triano Mimicking Horror. Just like make it dormant and get reduced damage for the call it Vine Lash.
yeah. Yeah, this would be like a definite way to live through that turn.
Yeah.
Well, that's unless they remove your buff and then use their Mimicking Horror anyways.
Yeah, I guess
Then you still take 25.
which isn't like lethal, but I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. It's not too exciting. Okay, let's
Yeah.
pick our favorite combo. Zeph, what you got?
enlightenment.
Alex?
Yeah, I like the loop, but I'm just not sure if the game play out the way it would.
Yeah. I'm going to put my non-competitive hat on here, which is a very rare hat, but I think antimatter field just sounds like the most ridiculous thing in a multiplayer game. So for that reason, yeah, I think I'm going to pick antimatter field. It sounds fun. And it's a creative card. It's a effect I haven't seen before.
Is there enough like things to make the mill deck good? But I guess it's still spread over multiple orders.
Yeah, you'd probably be splashing at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to like Cosmic Chaos, but it's also probably not supported in Astral.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough mill yet in Astral.
There isn't.
Yeah. If I competitive though, Enlightenment's definitely the most exciting for me. I think that card's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got heroes left. All right, Abominuk. Store discard solar action cards on your hero every time you heal for one or more. What? Store a discard a solar action card. Okay. When 5 cards are stored, move them back to your deck. You cannot wield items.
This seems really good actually.
Yeah.
Because you get to pick any solar action, right? It's not even like the top solar action card. It's just like
Yeah.
a discarded
solar.
solar action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this seems really good.
They didn't give it a solar superior element, which is a little
Yeah.
odd to me.
Makes sense though.
Yeah. So, like, Tempest is really good at digging through your deck and running a smaller deck. I feel like this hero kind of wants to do the same thing, but doesn't have as many tools as Tempest does.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what's the solar cards that you're really wanting to recycle?
Like healing or just attack what or anything.
Any solar cards that are like, I would really like to have more of this effect.
Blinding Beetle. No.
I feel like solar is one of the. Well, this is just Kindred. I feel like solar is one of the weaker. Like. They banned Sunbeacon, so you can't recycle Sunbeacon.
Rip the Dream.
Light Lasher is one that's worth it, probably. Your single Mirror Beast that might have got in there somehow. Tusker.
Ooh.
So then maybe you only have to play. You can play less Tuskers, possibly.
Yeah.
It's too bad Sunbeacon's gone. That would be insane to recycle Sunbeacons.
Oh, I can see why they kind of banned Sunbeacon.
Yeah, I do.
No,
Think,
I mean that card was just like a buff bar from the get go, so it was like it's a combo. It's a combo.
yeah,
It would have
It's
been
a-
ridiculous with this new set though.
it's a discard your combo. for me. I'm very good at that. I think recycling Light Lacers is just pretty overpowered. That card does some silly stuff. I don't think I would want to recycle the really slow buffs though. Like that just seems like if you're trying to kill them, recycling buffs that are that slow seems really really grindy. I don't know. So one thing it does allow is a strategy that focuses more on defense and then recycles your damage.
Well, I mean, like you just need big hitters, and then it triggers on healing, so your deck's mostly gonna be healing plus big hitters, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I was just coming to from that. So I like that strategy in general in Lightseekers. So for that reason, it's a little higher in my book. Oop. Get back to heroes. All right, so that one's potentially playable. Asavac. We've got 2 superiors, which is pretty sweet. Ability: store an action card from your discard pile under your hero if nothing is stored, or swap a card stored under your hero with an action card in your hand or discard pile.
This also seems ridiculous.
What's your thoughts? I definitely have some thoughts on this one. I like
So
this
it's
hero.
2 abilities to get any action back, right?
Yeah, and you have to move a card, so it's like it feels like 3 actions to get whatever you want back.
Right, but it's anything you want.
Yeah.
So if it's like good enough,
It's slow. Where I
slow.
go immediately is
Yeah.
Pathfinder. Like you store Pathfinder under here, you have it available any turn you want it. Like
Yep.
So if you like, what I compare this to is Tempest Rod. Tempest Rod's ability to activate and discard 2 cards, and this is Tempest Rod on a stick that can hold other items. So like, I don't know. I just think
so to get a new card, then you need to activate an ability again. So it's like I guess it is like very expensive action.
yeah,
AP wise.
yeah. But I think against a buff deck, like you can just outvalue them probably. Like you just cycle your Pathfinders and they wouldn't have a chance really. Like endless Pathfinders is a strategy that just it doesn't matter how many actions you're taking if you have endless Pathfinders.
Yeah, I think that definitely anything that just trumps a certain matchup, like you get to rebuy it, then that's worth it. It's not very good against faster decks. I think against faster decks you just kind of want to stay alive and never use the ability, unless it's just some ridiculous healing thing or something. I don't even know what.
Yeah, it does change the top of your pile potentially too, right?
Yes,
because it's a swap.
That is right.
So you can put whatever you want on top with the swap action. Which one of my favorite things about Cassini is the ability to manage the top of the deck.
Most of the healing in Astral is in Lunar, which you don't have access unless you have an item. And I don't remember what most of the healing in Dread is.
Yeah.
I guess it is death. Huh?
Death, yeah.
Oh, I just feel like you're splashing to Shadow with the best tentacles, because you ping damage every time you use the ability, because I feel like you're going to use the ability a lot.
Would you splash Shadow before you go get the Lunar?
Yeah.
I mean, your Abyss Tentacles are never out of the game. This is the grindiest of grindy heroes. I like this card. This is maybe my favorite mythic hero out of the set. I managed to pull a foil of it. That was pretty sweet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited about this card. You can use those extra blacksmiths to swap out. That's like not really getting rid of a card because it's just sitting dead in your hand anyways. So
yeah.
Well, then it's you still have to swap out the blacksmith with something else. That's the other part.
Well, I mean, you can change something to your hand and get rid of a card you don't want, I guess is the point there. Like, so it doesn't... If you're getting rid of a card you're never going to use, it doesn't feel like you're using an action. or it feels like
No,
a
you
four.
are though, because then if you want to get something else back with Ashivak, you have to switch the card that's right now stored under her with something that you do want, and then swap again with your hand. You see what I'm saying?
I guess I see how you're thinking about it, but I feel like so drawing a card is an action to me. So it's kind of like drawing a card for one action, and you're getting rid of a card that had no value from the original action. So the way I
Sure,
think
sure.
about
That's
yeah,
the first. That's the first activation. Yes, but
yeah.
the second activation, you have to get rid of the bad card that you didn't want in the first place with something that you do want.
Oh yeah.
So that has zero value and zero effect in the general board state.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm really excited to build around this card though. I think it's gonna be
I
fun.
think the biggest thing for me is that you can store your pathfinders, so
Yeah.
you can like, so it can be safe from like stuff that sends cards back to your hand.
Yeah, a lot of strategies with Astral in particular, like they would blinding beetle you and take your buff removal and then play their buffs
Yep.
because Astral has very few attacks in it. So it's like either your combo or your Pathfinders. Yeah. All right. So we got a question in chat. They're asking about advice for the Storm starter deck from Kindred. Has anybody looked at that?
I have not. I think Bobo played it. Bobo bought it.
We haven't reviewed Storm yet, so I feel like
You couldn't really give a.
so Scuttle is a little underwhelming, I would say. Draw one card when you play a combo that requires 2 or more water elements. Yeah.
2 or more.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Storm is a lot about combo.
I love Greedy Gas Bag.
Trying to figure out what they have going on here. It's I think my best advice for Sitov, however you pronounce that, is get a Fish Singer, switch it out, try to improve these combos a little bit. But besides that, you have some really decent cards here in the deck. Broken Dam's a really good card. Bubblefish, 3 Thunder Slugs, Amari Bard. I don't remember what the Charger, I think, is that one you discard if they have 8 cards or whatever. Barkeep, I don't remember what that one does. So I'd probably replace the unaligned cards. Replace your hero with Ushi, and then I think you have the reasonable starting place for a deck from there. It's just the hero they gave you with it is really underwhelming, I think. But this card's pretty exciting to get all your combos back in your deck. So. Alright, back to our heroes. Battlemaster Talon. Deal 1 damage to your target every time one of your Chim Chu buff expires. We could probably just skip this one.
Wah, wah.
There's just not enough Chim Chus. Alright, we've got another version of Lexi. 32 health. Solar. Carry 1 additional point of items. I don't know. I feel like these are going to be better now. Because you might really need access to your main element, and then you might want to go get the superior 2 cost for your element.
So what you're telling me is that someone can run a all Storm deck with this.
If someone was crazy enough to play all Storm with an Astral hero, yes, they could definitely do that. I might know someone that did that in a tournament, but props to Delivery Crab for running Lexi Storm and sitting there while they got doloed to death without all their items.
That's
He had more time to enjoy Gen Con, though.
yeah. That was amazing.
That's what happens when you drive back at 2 a.m. and try to build decks for a tournament. You make Lexi Storm. Did I? I don't have Kindred selected. I was getting too many heroes in there. All right. Duskguard Lucera. Ability, deal 2 damage to another hero if you have no buffs in play. Alex, what do you think about this one?
It's fine as a repeatable source of damage, but 2 damage for ability. An action point is not the best. So
Usually you want tentacles in play too when you're doing things like this.
yeah. Yeah, there's the Night Lurker in Dread. That's basically the same thing, but you get the option to increase it,
Mm-hmm.
which is about the only time I would use the Night Lurker.
Yeah. I'd probably just play
So-
another hero with an item if I wanted to be
Right.
doing this.
And if you get to the point where you would like have to be doing, you're spending your action point to do 2 damage instead of like playing out your cards, then you're probably like losing, or like it's in the end of a very absurd
Yeah.
game anyway.
Yeah. It also means you're not playing buffs in Astral and you're not reality rifting, so you're probably playing the wrong deck.
Well, I mean, this is basically like at the end of the day when everything else is kind of used up, kind of deal.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like a winning recipe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. And if you're not reality rifting in Astral, you're not playing it right.
Yeah. If you're not playing the best combo in Lightseekers, you're not playing Astral right. All right, we got another mythic hero here, Fairpang. Animal superior. You cannot wield items. Ability, take 1 damage to draw 1 card face up. If it's a beast, gain 1 additional action. This cannot be increased by effects.
I like this.
Yeah, I really like this.
Well, did they ever release Ironbark? Was that? Or is that still in limbo?
It's still an unreleased toy, I believe.
Okay.
But even if you did have it, you can't equip items.
All right, so you can't get any other colors. So
Mm-hmm.
wait, okay, that's just Kindred.
There's a couple of beasts in those.
Oh wait, I have Astral selected. Okay.
Yeah.
Unselect Astral.
I did.
Did you really? It's still.
I have Lunar Animal Soul right now.
Okay, so the Corvette, that's probably not gonna do anything because we don't have the other 2 element. So it's mostly gonna be animal.
This
Shift
card,
shifter,
Spineback Stockjaw. Interesting.
gonna do anything either. So it's gonna be mostly like nature, because a lot of the astral stuff.
It's like
requires
nature with
other
no
art
good
stuff.
combos.
Yeah,
The green yellow
guess the
combo
combo-
is pretty sweet.
yeah.
It's a 10 damage, remove or choose a element. They remove 2 of those action cards from their hand.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I think there are enough beasts where this is just like a free to roll.
Yeah, if you get the, I mean that's like the best bonus for. I mean you're drawing the card anyways, right? And then if it's beast, you get the action.
Yeah.
Yep.
That feels.
Well, it's yeah, and you take 1 damage, so it does mean that you want to finish the game like in a reasonable amount of time.
It seems strong, except the cannot wield items. Like, I think your combos are so bad, like you might just not be able to play this card.
Well, you get to play like the double animal and animal and soul. I
Yeah,
don't know.
wasn't there one? It's the one that says shuffle back all your animal cards to your deck.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's worth looking into. I think it's powerful enough.
And you also get access to Lunar Shrieker, so that's a plus.
We haven't looked at the new nature combos, so there might be. I don't know if this works right if I do animal and soul. If it'll.
Call of the Wild.
Call of the Wild's not bad.
Yeah, it's just 9 damage.
Yeah, Beast Control is pretty underwhelming. I do like Feral Rage. Oh, here's a new one. Start your turn, deal 2 damage to target if they have more health than you. Cannot receive healing while they have more health than you. It's an interesting card. Okay.
Radiant Spirit doesn't seem all that bad too.
Yeah. Spiritual Turmoil is okay. The problem, like, that I find with splitting your combos like this is that none of them cast each other very well. Like, even if the combos are okay, they're so clunky to cast. Here's the one you were talking about, Zeph, the Spirit Walk.
Yeah.
You might be running one of your 3-cost combos just to cast all your 2-cost combos. Okay. Well, the effect might be strong enough where it makes it worth it. Like, there's a lot of high-value cards that we were scrolling through there.
Yeah, because if you're essentially drawing 3 cards per turn to their 2, it's like Tranu all over again, right?
Yeah, a little more aggressive option.
Yeah.
All right. Grand Architect Halvar. I think we talked about this
talked
in the
about
tech.
this.
Yeah.
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 We decided we didn't like it very much.
Yeah.
Although Mumbles is trying to prove us wrong. So, to be determined. All right. Sky Slayer Vandal. When you play a combo that requires gravity, you rotate one of your buffs 2 steps forward.
Not a fan.
This is some pretty big burst.
Yeah.
I love this.
It is bursty, but
Really, really bursty. Like, you just set this up, you play your Dawnstalker, and then you play a combo that does like 16 with Lunar on top, and you do 26.
yeah, I guess if you're aggressive, then this is a lot better.
I really love this hero.
Okay.
How does it work if you have the extra action one out there? Do you get another action after your combo?
You get the action after you get the action. So after you play the combo, after everything resolved, you start
Yeah,
an
it's
action.
it's like Time Flicker. You do your thing, and then get the action, and you can play whatever with your action.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so, like, that's a little broken with the fortresses as well, because anytime you get to combo and then have an action, you can potentially throw all your cards in, then informat all your cards back, and trigger all your fortresses. This card seems really good. And Superior Gravity, I think, is the best.
Okay.
You can get your Pathfinder
can
back
see
and
it.
play it the same turn.
Yeah.
Everything is about Pathfinder.
This hero makes cards on the 4th corner playable. And like Sunstrike is like gravity, so the fact that you're able to like activate Lunar Offering on corner 4 after you do like Sunstrike is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I really feel like this makes like if you play a Dawnstalker and have Lunar on top, it's almost a must remove for your opponent.
Yeah.
Like they can't risk, you can. So the combo. One thing that's interesting, Alex, earlier the combo you were on the fence about. This lets you have multiple effects of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm coming around on this.
What did it want on top? Your,
I think gravity.
you want gravity on top? Okay. Yeah, 30 health is pretty decent too. So
Yeah.
I think this is a. I mean, there's a lot of competition. Cellini, Cassini. They didn't rhyme this one with it. But yeah, this is probably in the top running for Astral Heroes, I would say.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more to go. Star Tamer Calic. Ability: shuffle your hand back into your deck and draw the main cards. This can only be used once per game. Superior Gravity. What do we think? Like, I feel like it's just built around the big boom turn. Like, well, it gives you a mulligan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once per game, it's just, I guess.
But really, like, this is, you have multiple flying fortresses out. You just reality rift them all back, and now you draw
Heading after
your whole hand.
ability.
Yeah, I think that's really what this is.
The Flying Fortress setup.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why does Reality Rift give you extra action? Is that really necessary? That card's too good.
It's so good, dude.
Yeah, I think Star Tamer could potentially just really break that card. Because like Informant, when I'm playing against it, you can see when they're trying to set that up, and you can see when you're in danger of multiple fortresses. You can't really control how many. I mean, you can kind of control that, but depending on what deck you have, you can always play your cards out, but you can't control their hand size in every deck. So I think this is like a really consistent way to just have that big bang turn.
Yeah.
That's very scary.
Especially with Starheart Tusker. With 2 flying fortresses, with Starheart Tusker, you're doing like 36 damage.
Yeah. And that's out of nowhere, like, because you play the Tusker, you have 2 fortresses out, shuffle.
Yep.
They're dead.
Yep. Yeah.
Hopefully you have better drawing luck than I do with Astral, because then they would not die. They would go to 1 and then heal all the way back. Yeah, this card's pretty sweet, I think. That's pretty scary that they can shuffle everything. And I don't know. Against certain decks you might actually use Emergency Mulligan and just grind them out.
Yeah.
Alright. Last hero is Swoop Rider Kari. I don't know. Ability: draw 1 card face up. If it's a beast, you may rotate one of your action buffs 1 step forward. Alex, I remember you liking these draw abilities quite a bit. Like, you draw anyways, you might get a bonus. Like, what do you think about this version of it?
Well, we looked at the beast stuff earlier, and this one gets to play all of the astral elements instead of like mixing it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and getting the bonus of rotating anything forward is pretty relevant for bursty stuff. So, I mean, I like it on the baseline of just like, draw 1 card, and then if it's something specific, get a bonus. So I don't mind it, but it doesn't feel as flashy as some of the other ones we talked about.
Yeah, and it's not very consistent either. I don't think you're going to be running that many beasts, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for it to line up to where it actually makes a big difference might be few and far between. You got any other thoughts on that one, Zeph?
No. Just it's not enough beast cards.
Yeah. same problem as usual. Okay, so what's our favorite hero?
Asavac probably.
It's gonna have to be Skylander. What's his name?
Sky Slayer?
Sky Slayer. Yeah.
Yeah, that card is so scary. That's got to be one of the scariest hero abilities that I've seen.
And the thing is, like, you can like gravity bubble, so you can go to the last corner and then restart again.
Oh, that's gross. Get the fourth corner effect and then have it out there for later too.
Yep.
And just combo again next turn. Oh.
Yep.
Gross. All right, you're swaying me, but I'm not an aggro player really. So unless I'm trying to grind out points on the app, but Asavac is, probably one of my favorite in the set. So I'm gonna have to go with that one. I'm really ready to see a multicolor hero actually have some legs to it, because I mean they've kind of flopped overall. Like they haven't had the support. I think if we get into the round of like multicolor combos, we're a little closer, but.
Well, it needs to have an interesting ability first, I think, and then you're kind of looking at, okay, does the element do anything interesting? But I think the ability is number one for multicolor hero, at least for me. I don't try to like mix and match my order and then find a hero. I go the other way around, right? You find the hero first and then build around.
I mean, they made some really powerful abilities. Draw a card when you remove a buff. Tuck 2's seen a little bit of play, had a little bit of success, probably because of the strength of these elements here. Blacktail is like right on the verge, I feel like. Maybe this set will push it over the edge, and then Asavac.
Hopefully.
That sounds like
I think Thundervine. Thundervine's gonna see a lot of play though.
So, just being in the medical field, like that sounds like some kind of horrible medical procedure. Asavac, like. We might have to think of a different way to say that. Okay. Anyways, so that wraps up our Astral Kindred review. Thanks everybody that joined us. A little smaller crowd this time, but this will be posted and available to look at. So if you know some people that would like to review this and kind of hear our thoughts on it, shoot them the link to it. I'll post it in the forums, on Facebook, pretty much everywhere I can. So if you haven't followed yet, we will be doing more of these reviews. We've still got 4 orders to go, and plus the unaligned. So we'll be back later. Thanks for joining us.